Aloha, aloha, everybody. Skugtash, Anin up Chukuk, Jennifer Varenchuk. Welcome to Sissy's, Unci's, and Aunties live stream. Today is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. And we have a live stream today that I'm so excited about. I cannot wait to bring on our guest, who's a dear friend of mine. But before we do that, I wanted to bring on our co-host. So, and also let you all know that one of our co-hosts, Justine, she is on travel right now. So, prayers for Justine that you have safe travel. And I'm just really like all of us, we're really excited. We love being able to bring on guests that we have a connection with, that we know, and that are doing big things in Indian country. So, but before we do that, we got to start with a prayer. We have a lot of things we got to take care of. So let me bring on Avril. There you are, Avril. Awesome. Okay, so Avril, go ahead and introduce yourself and get us started.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for the introduction, the welcome. I am truly excited to be here. Um, Hio Homi Takiape, Avril Cordova Imachiape, Malakwata and Tels Pueblo. My Thama is Joseph Conquilla Cordova. My Ina or my cause, Patricia Crow Cordova. I'm sixth generation from Chief Red Cloud. I'm the owner operator of AC and Associates. I'm a mother, daughter, community member. I'm an auntie and would like to welcome you as well to today's live event. It's great to see you all here. We're so happy to be here online and bring you some fun and some March cheer. Collaboration and working together to bring resources, information, and community wellness to our community is important to us. And we would like to acknowledge you for being here and the partners that have been here. I'm just so thankful for all of that. So, Jen, yay! We did it! We're here! It's an auntie time, auntie, unchis, and sissies. So, Jen, back to you.
Thank you. One of the things that we really believe in here is honoring our culture and our ways that you may not always be able to see, wherever you are on a live stream or in entertainment or whatever it is, that when you're watching something, one thing that is important for us is that we want to start with prayer. We want to start in a good way. We want to have a blessing for everything that we do. And so today, April's going to do that for us, and she is going to start us off with a prayer in a good way. So I'm going to put it back to April. I think she's getting her things together for us, and she's gonna give us a prayer, and then after that, I will do the land acknowledgement. So whenever you're ready, April.
Thank you very much. So this here is California white sage, which I harvested myself. So I know where it comes from. I know the prayers that I put into it, and I know that I use it every day. So if you don't know, now you know. This is what it looks like when it dries. I bundle it, wrap it. After I do harvest it, I let it sit for a while. Actually, I like to let it sit on my dashboard. I don't know, I'm real resi, but everybody has those, bundles of medicine around, and I keep them on the dashboard. So you'll see at sometimes there'll be like 6 or 7. So I feel real protected when I'm in there. But okay, so let's go back. California white sage is dried. I light it. Smoke or the smoke is this is what we call smudging. So the smoke goes up to Creator and takes all of our prayers and good thoughts to um, Wamana or whatever you call your Creator. It takes that. So I'm going to say a prayer for us today. I said one earlier for our technology to make sure that it's good, and so let's start off with the prayer. Creator, we come to you today with open hearts and open minds, thankful for the many blessings that you provide us on a minute, monthly, second basis, from the ability to walk, talk, be here today virtually, to laugh, to learn, to listen, to connect, to reconnect. I ask that you, Creator, watch over the individuals that are watching this now or in the replay. Keep them healthy, wealthy, and safe, Creator. Let them know that somebody does love them, somebody is thinking about them today, and somebody has prayed for them. Creator, I'm thankful for all the many blessings that you provide me, and I hope that you provide that as well to those in the virtual audience. I'm thankful for the show and for the friends that we have that have agreed to come on to laugh with us, to love with us, and feel connected, even if they're thousands and thousands of miles away. To all Creator, for all your many blessings. Um, Ta'a pila mayaye, gracias, etiehe, ajonesle, ajonesle, ajonesle. Amen. Aho. The end.
The end. Awesome. Thank you, Avril. I could feel that. That was one of those good ones, eh? One of those good prayers. Next, so I'm going to be doing the land acknowledgement. And so at this moment, I'd like to acknowledge that I am living on the illegally occupied Kingdom of Hawaii. I am coming to you from the island of Oahu in the city of Kaneohe. And it always makes me happy to acknowledge the original people of this land from the Kingdom of Hawaii. And a lot of people are not familiar. They're always like, Hawaii is a state, Hawaii is a state. And I encourage you just to kind of like look into that history of how it became a state through illegal occupation. But that's not the topic for today, but I just wanted to make that acknowledgement. And with that, we are now going to move into the next point. So we are celebrating Women's History Month, and we have a little quiz for you to get started about some very well-noted Indigenous women that have done things in history. So how we're going to play this little game is Avril is going to read to us the question. If you're watching, put your answer in the comments, and then we'll reveal the answer. So go ahead with our first question, Avril.
Okay, our first question is, she made history when she became the first Native American to serve as a cabinet secretary. She is a member of the Pueblo of Laguna and a 35th generation New Mexican.
And your choices are 1, Secretary Deb Haaland, 2, Melanie Trask, 3, Cecilia Fire Thunder, and 4, Wilma Mankiller. What do you think the answer is? We'll give you about 5 seconds here, and then Avril will reveal the right answer. Go ahead.
I will, but let's also let them know. Put it in the comments. Let's see those comments come through. 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1G, Nupa, Yamani, Dopa. Let me say it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do you think it is, Jen? Do you know?
I know, yes.
All right, here we go. Let's see who it is. Should we choose 1, 2, 3, or 4? I have to choose one.
Oh,
Which one should we choose? Okay. Ding, ding, ding! Woohoo! You won. Secretary Deb Haaland.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the next question.
Okay. A member of the Osage Nation, she was not only a trailblazer for Native American dancers, but is widely considered one of the country's most influential ballerinas of all time and America's first prima ballerina. Who do you think it is?
So let's go with, I'm going to read the answers. Unfortunately, for number 1, I cannot clearly see it, but I believe it says Galina Ulanova.
Yes.
Number 2 is Margot Fortien. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is Maria Tallchief. And number 4 is Wilma Mankiller. And I have an idea. I mean, I think I know who the answer is. So I'm going to say my choice is number 3.
Number 3. Let's see. Maria Tallchief is number 3. Woo! Nice work.
Awesome. All right. Let's go to the next question.
As an entrepreneur, advocate, and member of the Blackfeet Nation, she fought tirelessly for government accountability and for Native Americans to have control over their own financial future. During her life, she won countless awards, founded the first American-owned bank, and successfully won a class action lawsuit against the United States government.
All right. Our choices are number 1. I believe it says Larissa Fasthorse. Number 2, Naomi Miguel. Number 3, Eloise, I cannot read the second name, Cobell Yellowbird Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4, Wilma Mankiller. And I will choose number 3.
Number 3. Boo, boo, boo. Yes, awesome.
Yay! And I see here on Facebook that we have 2 people, Yolanda and Willie, that also picked number 3. Thank you for playing along.
Yay!
Shout out to you guys. All right, let's go with the next question.
Okay. She is from the Sinkanju Lakota Nation, a 2020 MacArthur Fellow and award-winning writer, choreographer, choreographer, Jen.
Choreographer.
Choreographer and co-founder of Indigenous Direction, the nation's leading consulting company for Indigenous arts and audiences. Her satirical comedy, The Thanksgiving Play, Playwrights Horizon Geffen Playhouse, is one of the top 10 most produced plays in America this season. She is the first Native American playwright in the history of American theater on that list.
All right, and our choices are number 1, Larissa Fasthorse. Number 2, Milani Trask. Number 3, Naomi Miguel. Number 4, Wilma Mankiller. And I'm going to choose number 1.
Is there any comments? I know one of our...
Willie's also choosing number 1.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. Number 1. Boo, boo, boo! Excellent.
And I believe Willie actually worked with Larissa Fasthorse, so
yes,
he kind of had an inside an inside answer there, inside view. Okay, let's go. Keep going.
Okay, they are a Native American actress raised on the Blackfeet Reservation in Browning, Montana, and Seattle. They are Piegan Blackfeet, Nez Perce, and European heritage. They earned critical acclaim for portraying Molly Kyle in the film Killers of the Flower Moon 2023. She became the first Native American to win the Golden Globe Award for the Best Actress in Motion Picture, Drama, and be nominated for Academy Award for Best Actress.
All right, our choices are number 1, Lily Gladstone. Number 2, Naomi Miguel. Number 3, Milani Trask. And number 4, Misty Upham. While everyone's thinking, don't forget the Oscars are this Sunday. If you're in Hawaii, it starts at 1 p.m. So I'm going to pick my answer, which is number 1. Yay! Okay, next question. Oh, you're on mute, Avril. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. She was a Blackfeet actress. She attracted critical acclaim for her performance in the 2008 film Frozen River, for which she was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female.
And your choices are number 1, Lily Gladstone. Number 2, Milani Trask. Number 3, Cecilia Firethunder. And number 4, Misty Upham. So I know the answer to this one too. And this one, I'm going to pick number 4.
Number 4, let's see, Misty Upham. You're doing great.
Wow. It's almost as if I knew the questions beforehand. But I didn't, honestly. I knew a few, but not all of them. Okay, like this one, I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead and read it, Avril. I don't think I know this one.
Okay, she is a nurse, community health planner, a tribal leader of the Oglala Lakota Nation. On November 2nd, 2004, she was the first woman elected as president of the tribe. I know. Go ahead.
Okay. Our answers are number 1, Misty Upham. Number 2, Wilma Mankiller. Sorry. Number 3, Cecilia Fire Thunder. And number 4, Lily Gladstone. I am going to go with number 3.
Number 3. What is our audience? Remember, you can put your comments, you can put your answers in the comment section. Let's go with number 3. Boo, boo, boo. Nice work. You're crushing it. You're crushing it.
Yay, I'm crushing it.
Okay.
We are figuring out the next part of it. I think we're gonna call it a day then, because I think in order for us to keep going, we do have more questions, but I don't think that we're going to be able to get through them all. And we really do want to get to our special guest, who I have the honor of introducing. I'm very excited about this, but also I want to be full disclosure. I've known this person for a long time. So it's like, I know how I would want to introduce her, but I'm going to be a little bit more professional. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her background. This wonderful person, her name is Naomi Miguel. You saw her answer in many of the different questions that we had. She is a citizen of the Tohono Nation, as am myself. And you guys, she is the executive director for the White House Initiative on Advancing Education, Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Native Americans and Strengthening Tribal Colleges and Universities. Okay, I had to read that because that is a long title. Some other just notable highlights, because there are many things that she has accomplished in her career. She's formerly served as a staff director for the Subcommittee for Indigenous People of the United States on the House Representatives Natural Resources Committee. She is also a founding board member for the Congressional Native Staff Association, and she is a former Native American congressional intern for the Udall Foundation. She has so many other wonderful accomplishments, and I think one that I wanted to highlight is where she went to school, and that's how we met. She went to Mount St. Mary's University, an all-women's college in Los Angeles. And there's so much more that I have to say, but I'm going to leave it at that because we want to dive into it all in our conversation. So please, everybody, give a warm welcome to Naomi Miguel. Yay! There she is, everybody. Woohoo! It's so exciting. Go ahead.
The mic was muted.
Yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank you for making time for us in your busy DC life over there. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Naomi, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Okay. Suguk Hudanik, Aniab Jigik, Naomi Miguel, Gomo Amatuk, Chuchu, Sifoidak, Jikshan, Danatham Nation. Good evening. My name is Naomi Miguel. I come from the village of Chuchu on the Danatham Nation in southern Arizona, but currently in Washington, D.C. I had to pause because I don't normally say I'm not used to saying good night in my intro. Yeah. Just because it's like almost 8 p.m. here. But yeah, wanted to spend some time with you guys, even if it's just virtually. So
yay! It's like it's a virtual flashback to like those COVID days, right? When everything was virtual.
That's so true.
So yay! I know, and I saw you kind of look off, and I was like, oh, she's looking to see, is it nighttime or is it still daytime?
I don't know why, because it's dark, but my ring light is on, so I was like, oh, maybe the sun is out.
Oh, look
Hey,
at this. You have a greeting from Willie Sandoval, one of our dear friends that we used to know in Los Angeles, and he's out in New Mexico now. But awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we have a lot of questions for you. And I'm going to start with kind of an easy one, which is, did you always want to work in DC or for the government?
Oh, this was a good question. I actually no. Short answer, no. But I always had an interest in government. I think that's another piece. So the many different layers of government that were involved in just what we endure as Native people. And that's especially true for those of us who were on the reservation. I think my experience growing up on the reservation really like sparked that curiosity in me, because I was seeing the different changes of like border security and like seeing how the federal government was responding to that, knowing that it's tribal land. And so that kind of sparked my interest in government. I didn't know I loved government until I had my first government class in high school, my senior year of high school. I
Mm.
took that class and I was like, this is amazing. I love this class. This doesn't feel like work to me. I want to learn more. And that just kind of like has been the driving theme of like learning more in my entire career. I think that's just been kind of the theme of it. But my interest specifically in DC and the federal government actually began in my college years. I participated in a program at American University called the Washington Internships for Native Students. It's called the WINS program. Shout out to all the WINS alumni. There's a lot of us. And that actually sparked my interest in wanting to think more about like the federal government and what goes on here at DC, decision makers. That's really what kind of changed my thinking. And a lot of alumni and people that I met from that summer, that was like 2007, 2008, are all like really big people in Indian country now. They're like CEOs, they're partners at law firms, they're president board members, you know. So it was really cool to kind of have that experience when we were younger, but also know that that was also like the tipping point for all of us to want to get more involved. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you for sharing. I was thinking while you were talking, I'm like, it would have been funny if you would have said, no, next question.
Yeah. I keep looking off because I have notes so I won't forget anything. And so that's literally my thing was like, no, but long story.
No, that's great. And I remember you as a WINS intern, and meeting all those WINS people, and yeah, like crazy. They're all like big shots now, like big deals out in Indian country or in the government doing big things.
Yeah.
And every now and then I'm like, oh yeah, I do know someone who works for the White House. That's crazy to me.
one of the people that I do work with is a board of a nonprofit, and she sent me a picture of us that summer where we literally are laying on the ground like coloring with chalk. And I apparently we spent the whole day together exploring different art museums in DC, and she was like really into art, and they gave us the opportunity to make art on the sidewalk with chalk. And so we spent most of the day just making these different murals. And so the picture of us is just us on the sidewalk with our little murals. So it's kind of cool to kind of see that now that we're all like grown up. And so just be like, oh, look at, we spent the day together. So
I know. It is crazy to look back. Okay, wonderful. So let's go. This kind of leads into our second question. So what women role models or support did you have throughout your journey? And then as a follow-up, I will ask you later, do you mentor young women? So first is, what support did you have throughout your journey?
This one, it says there's a lot to name. But I think just first and foremost, my mom and my grandma. Unfortunately, my dad passed away when I was younger, so my mom was a widow but raised me as a single mother. and really taught me and things. I mean, she tells me now as an adult, but one of her goals in raising me was to be financially independent and self-sufficient. So those were things that she, as a single mother, modeled for me. And so I got to see a lot. She was, when I was growing up, very upfront with me about, here's my budget for the month and here's what we have, really getting into that with me. So I was kind of taught that really early on. And then at the times where she wasn't able to, if she had work or was, because she was also going to school too, my grandma would step in. So my grandmother is also a very strong Native woman. And so she also taught me a lot too. I think she taught me a lot about patience, and I'm very close to both my mom and my grandma. So those were really two people just up front. And then kind of growing up, my mom used to be in like the pageant world. So she got to know some really amazing, strong Native women. And they became like my aunts. And, they have pictures of holding me when I was a baby, so it's just been like a continuation of that, like Native women having their own business or other things. And then when I moved to LA, it was Jen, because Jen was my first friend. And in teaching me and carrying that on. Also, my professor, Dr. Boutros, who really taught me how to take ownership and being proud of being a Native woman. I think she really instilled that in me, and being proud of, I mean, I've always been proud of where I came from, but like recognizing that that's very unique. And knowing that our culture is unique and that we each individually as Native people, especially as Native women, are unique individuals in this country. And really showing that and pushing me to use that and use my voice. And she also taught me that, like, you can be smart and beautiful and not compromise anything to get what you want, to be understood or to advocate for people. And so that's just, and she's always been like my mentor. I even, like, when I first got this job, she was one of the first people that I called. She's not even a professor anymore. She's like now retired, but she's always been somebody that I always looked up to as a professor. And then in the professional world, I've always been very grateful to have Native women or just women who were my direct supervisors. But in my different career changes and in my journey, I've always been very lucky to be there. There've been men at the top, but they've always acknowledged the respect and the different roles that come when you're my directors started our own nursery in the nonprofit. My old boss in Congress started extending maternal and paternal leave. So, like, there are different ways that they made sure to, look for ways they can help women, especially working women and working moms. So, that's a long question or long answer, but yeah, lots of people. And then if in the answer of do I mentor young women, and I have it, yes, in a way. So I don't want to say it's formally, but when young women do reach out at the beginning of their career and ask for advice or even ask for meetings, like, I try to make the time to talk with them and, make sure to give them advice or just listen to what they want to do or encourage them. Because a lot of people did that for me along the way. So I always try to make sure to pass that along.
Awesome. Yes. It's important always to give back and to make time for them, because we want more, more Indigenous people working in these key places. So for sure, I'm really glad. And I know that you do, but we want to let everybody else know how awesome you are too.
Before you go on to the next question, Jen, I do want to highlight what you said about financial stability. In the past couple years, I say the past 5 years, I have had somebody that always talked about financial wellness being part of, not only physical wellness, not only mental wellness, but financial wellness. So I appreciate you mentioning that and what that looked like for you growing up. I just wanted to make sure that we say that. And, you know, I always try to incorporate financial wellness into a medicine, you know, the medicine wheel when I'm teaching youth. As well, when I pray, when I pray, I always talk about keeping people healthy, wealthy, and safe. But wealth to me is not money wise. It can be, but it's not. It's a lot about being proud, traditions, you know, the interactions that you have, the tribe, you know, for the two different tribes that I represent, there's different layers to it and different, you know, like respect, you know, all of these things, but I always try to encourage that as well. So thank you for sharing that. That's it, the end.
Oh, Jen, you're muted, or we can't hear
Thank
you.
you. Yeah. I was going to say, I think a lot of people would benefit from, you know, following in your mother's footsteps of like sitting you down and like showing you and not keeping that like a hidden thing or secret. I think that that is amazing. And also the fact that she even had a budget, like I know a lot of households, you know, they don't run on a budget. And so kudos to your mother Nellie for really like instilling that in you. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it was definitely a really eye-opening thing. You know, and she went through. She was like, "Here's my bills. Here's how much we have left over." Like, you know, the thing that you wanted to get. Then that got in. Yes, that got into the whole speech of like, do you want it or do you need it? Like, let's make a list of those things. So yeah, those really good things that I now repeat. Let you do when you're older. You sound like your parents sometimes. So.
Yes, we all are slowly turning into our moms. So, okay. So our next question is, how does it feel like being a Native woman working in DC?
Oh man. Oops. Hold on. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect. Okay, just switched audio stuff. Um, so I have a short answer. It can be a lot. That's literally what I wrote. But I mean also to put it more perspective on DC and being a Native woman. We just had our first women in Congress in 2019 and our first cabinet member in the federal government in 2021. And these are very recent things that have happened. And this government has been here for 2 centuries or 3 centuries. So, like that, I think, just to put the perspective of what it is like being a Native woman in DC, that's kind of like it's a lot. But I will say I have been very lucky to find really great Native women who were working in Congress with me or also working in the federal government. And so I've like kind of developed this like unofficial like little network of Native women that I really reach out to or talk to or you know, we make sure to utilize each other for support or even like check in on. That's been really helpful, I think, for being a Native woman. It can be a lot, but I think it's creating that support network for yourself. So, but I also have, I always say this Jay-Z quote, and I forget which song it's from, but it's like, that ain't enough. We need a million more. So, like, it's just me and a couple of people that I know, but we need a million more Native women to be here to advocate for all of us. So,
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I don't know that song, but I agree 1,000% with that. We need a million more. Okay, next question. Is it important to you to go back home and find your medicine or continue your medicine? And then how do you ground yourself?
short answer is yes. And I put an exclamation point Yes. I actually was trying to, before we got on, try to put a picture. I have a really good picture of my backyard, and I was trying to put that as a background, but I do make sure to have it as my like phone screensaver, as just like a reminder of like home, but also a reminder of like just, you know, being that connectedness to land, and like just the beauty that is in the desert, or at least what I feel when I go back home. So yeah, I really do think it's important to go back home and remember why you're here, remember why you're doing the work. Sometimes when I'm at home, my family doesn't care. Like sometimes I'll be like, "Oh my God, I went to this event at the White House and blah 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 blah, and I saw so and so," and then they're like, "Okay, cool, but can you do the dishes?" Or like, "Go get that." Like, and I'm just like, "All right, cool." um, so it's really good grounding. um, and then also like, I have like some very few colleagues and close friends that kind of can recognize when I do need to go home. So they'll like be like, "Hey, when was the last time you got home?" And then even I'll say when she was a congresswoman, Deb Haaland would say that to me too when I'd see her. She'd be like, "Hey, when's the last time you went home?" And so it always felt really nice to kind of respond to her and be like, "I just went this weekend," like, or just came back yesterday. And I tell her about my grandma or whatever I did. So that was really nice too. And then I'd ask her that too, you know, "When was the last time you went home?" So, you know, just making sure you're keeping that connection. And then to ground myself, it depends on, you know, what I feel like I need. Sometimes it's like going to a national park or going on a walk. Sometimes meditating, sometimes it's journaling, or even just like calling back home and FaceTiming my grandma, even if I just see her forehead most of the time. But yeah, just little things like that, you know, to make sure I'm staying connected.
Could you, because not everybody is familiar with the Tohono Nation, so can you tell people or describe to people like what it looks like? And the reason why I'm asking is because a lot of people, you know, of course, our main audience is Indian country, but we want people to know that like not everybody is in teepees and like tall trees and woodlands. So tell us a little bit about what does it look like when you are back home on the reservation.
Okay. So, Tohono O'odham, Tohono means desert in our language, and O'odham means person or people. So, like, it's kind of like desert people. So we're in southern Arizona along the U.S.-Mexico border. Our reservation is equivalent to the size of Connecticut. Also, we have 3 like satellite pieces of reservation or parts of reservation that are throughout the Phoenix area, um, Tucson area, and also like over in Florence, Arizona too. Um, Obviously, before the U.S. government came in the Gadsden Purchase, um, our homeland was all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So we do have a tribe that's on the Mexico side of thing that's recognized by the Mexican government. My grandmother on my father's side is from that side of Autumn. So I do have family down there. I always try to make sure to acknowledge that. And the landscape is we have mountains. My particular village, it's named Choo Choo because that means the land of or area of many caves. So our mountains have a lot of caves in them. And so it's desert, so it's sandy. We have different wildlife. There's roadrunners, rabbits. I saw a mountain lion at one point. So yeah, you get like other desert animals. So the land is kind of bare, but there's also a lot of trees, mesquite trees. Closer to the mountains, you have cacti. Um, yeah, so just kind of brown and green, but sometimes in the springtime, there's different wildflowers that bloom when it rains a lot. And then also the cacti fruit, we eat that too. That's kind of our indication of the new year. So yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, I was visualizing everything, and I was also thinking we got a lot of toads too, or frogs, or
Yeah, the Sonoran toad, which is on the brink of extinction, but
oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. Weird wildlife stuff I know from my last job.
Yeah, I remember the first time I was on the reservation and it was raining and it was nighttime and we ran into town and we came back and there were like literally 20 toads like that we had to cross to get into the front door, and that was definitely like my heart was pounding, and they're like everybody's used to them, not me. Okay, so we have a fun question, and then after this question, I think Avril, you can ask the remaining questions, or we can go back and forth. But our fun question right now is, what song do you have on repeat right now in your life?
um, so my answer was like trying to be like, oh, it depends on the day. But then I was like, let me be real with myself. It's probably Beyonce. And then I went back and I checked my Spotify like top 2023 songs, and it was Hold On, or hold on, I'm reading my little notes. Oh, Hold Up by Beyonce was like my most played song last year. So yeah,
Nice.
Beyonce is usually like my hype music when I need it. So obviously I needed a lot last year.
Yeah,
And
I'm
That Girl is
loving that.
also a hype song.
The new song, I love it. I love it. The country song, I think it's great. I'm almost motivated to try and learn one of those dances that everybody's doing, but not enough. I just like admire it and just kind of move around with it.
You have to show us the dance one time.
Maybe one day. Okay, so Avril, do you want to do the next question?
I would be happy to. I just there's a lot of thunder and lightning over here, so I'm nervous about the electronic situation. So go ahead
Okay.
and just keep it. I'm gonna just back out for a minute.
Okay, no worries, no worries. And I could hear it actually in the background. I was like, oh, she's not kidding. I can hear that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next question, which is, what are some must do things when you go back to Arizona? So when you're going back home, what are some like you must do these particular things?
Um, I have to go get a burrito. It could be a breakfast burrito. It could be in a cheese burrito. It's like some type of burrito, and rice. On the serious side, like I always, even when I left for college, made it a point to come back and see my elders in my community. It's a big lesson, so always go see your elders. If my mom would tell me if they were asking for me, that I had to go visit them, so that would always be something I would try to make sure to do. My grandma is now the elder of our village, so I always make sure to see her, even if it's when I get there, because usually if I go for work, it's harder to schedule that. But as long as I get to see her a little bit, I make sure to do that. Um, yeah. So, and then also just enjoying being home. So just like going for a walk, or, visiting family.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, of course, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, you got to get to that parking lot to get the burrito woman. So,
There's
uh,
2 or 3 different places I try to hit up when I'm home.
yeah, I'm just talking about like the sales area, and I know you're in a different location, but like, I was like, that's probably what I would do is got to get over there, get some red chili, get some burrito, anything having to do with food.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
okay. Can you share with us your educational journey? And how did scholarships play a role in your educational journey, if at all?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I grew up on the reservation. So I did Head Start on the reservation, but my kindergarten through 12th grade was off the reservation in public school in Cascade, Arizona. So I did my K through 12 there. I also did take some college community college courses nearby. So, because our high school had some dual enrollment opportunities. So, initially, I was going to try to go to a community college, and then transfer to a 4-year college. That was my plan at one point. But then once I started getting towards my senior year, I was like, no, I think I'm ready to go out and explore the world. So, I just got to use that college credit too. So I went to school at Mount St. Mary's University in Los Angeles. It's a private all women's college. I chose to go there because I wanted a higher education institution that would support me. And my goal back then was to go to law school. And that school had a really good track record of making sure that it supported women, but also supported women in whatever degree they wanted to get afterward, that they were adequately prepared for it. So knowing that I wanted to go to law school, I chose that school. And then just moved to Los Angeles without knowing anybody except Jen. And so it was, looking back, it was like, wow, I was just taking a risk there, like just going from the res right to LA. But I feel like it was a big learning experience for me too, because even in the town that was near our reservation, everyone knew what being a Tohono was or being O'odham was, and like going to a place that had no idea. But being able to like connect with you and like others at the Indian Center that's what helped keep me grounded too. And I always talk about like we even started our own language group. Like we had our little like potlucks. And I liked it because I got to get the food after the potluck, being a college student. So yeah, I mean, I look back on that, and and all the elders that were O'odham that lived in LA became my elders. And so my mom was always like, you don't miss home as much as I thought you would. And then she realized like, oh, you have your own little like family over there. So yeah, that's how I did college. I did do 1 year of law school. That was really stressful for me. And also I was very young. So I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And then I worked for a little bit trying to figure out if I wanted to get my policy degree or go back to law school. And then I did American University's master's program. I couldn't choose at the time whether I wanted a master's in public administration or a master's in public policy. And American University had a program that had both. So I was like, hey, this is really great. And it was an online program because I didn't quite want to move out of LA at that time. And I was also, it was for working professionals, so I could still do my job. So I was able to meet some of my classmates virtually way before it was cool. And had to really keep track of time zones because there were some people here in DC, but we had another person in Guam, another person in Alaska, and another was with her husband on tour. So Germany was a time zone I had to know at one point for group projects. And so that actually taught me how to do a lot of this stuff online. So when COVID happened, I actually was like, oh yeah, I can go back to that. So yeah, that's my educational journey. It's a long one, but yeah.
Awesome. I was thinking while you were talking, I was like, what was that other? Okay, so not Zoom, but there was another program that did, digital Skype, and you were my very first Skype call. Okay, remember that. And I think you were in Arizona. Yeah, you were in Arizona. and you had to teach me because I had never used Skype before, and I was like, this is so weird. And you're like, push that button.
And I was remember thinking back then, like, it would be so cool if we got to do this on our phone. Like,
yeah, back in those days.
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, yeah, I totally remember that. But Zoom is now the big one. Okay, so let's go to our next question. When you are under stress, what do you do? And I imagine you must have a lot being in DC.
I forgot. I didn't really answer the last one. Sorry.
Oh, the scholarship part? Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just real quick. So for undergrad, I actually my entire graduate degree or undergraduate degree was completely paid for by scholarships. I did a lot of research of different scholarships that are available to Native students. And I treated that scholarship research as a job. So I would like put time away after studying to like research different scholarship opportunities, like take the time to fill them out, take the time to talk to my professors, get recommendation letters. Like, so I had this like little process that I was doing to make sure that I had scholarship money. And then also just reaching out to non-native programs too, of looking at scholarship programs and just putting your name in there and putting it out there. And eventually you get the flow of what you need or you want to tell your story too. So yeah, my undergraduate was all scholarships, which was amazing. My graduate degree was a little different, and so had to like take some loans out. So yeah. So I think I put that out there just to say like it is possible. And then also too, it was really great to have the support of my tribe too. So also encouraging you too, if your tribe pays for your college degree or any other degree, take advantage of that and just go learn.
For sure. Yeah. Scholarships. It can be, I've known people that have been able to finance their whole entire college degree off of scholarships and even making a little bit more just to have like some spending money. But it is a full-time job. Like you really got to do your research. There's a lot of applying, but I feel like I didn't go through that, but I feel like that once you kind of do like 5 applications, you kind of like, exactly what to do. Just like cut and paste. Or back then, well, yeah, never mind. All right. I was like, for me, it wasn't cut and paste, but that's like 2 decades before you. But nowadays, yeah. Great, awesome. Yeah, no, I love that. And I would encourage everybody, look into that. It is very possible. We have an example right here on screen who was able to do that. Okay, so now we go back to our question of when you are under stress, what do you do to help yourself? How do you deal with that?
Yeah. So it depends on how much time I have. And I'll kind of say one of my friends who was a father one time, because I think I was just asking him like just as when he was a parent, I was like, how do you manage the stress? And I remember at one point he was like telling me, he was like, it's just those 3 minutes that you get to yourself where you just kind of have to like think or take a breath and then move forward. And I was like, I never knew what he meant by that until I had this job where I have back-to-back meetings. So if I'm able to like get 5 minutes, I really just like either like focus on my breathing, try to do quick meditation, or I really love music. So like I'll listen to a song and that will be like my break. But if I have longer than that, I try to like really settle my mind down and like meditate or like just depending if I have longer time. So if I have a weekend, I make sure like I make time for myself. Taking things a little slower is what I always try to do now. And then when I worked in Congress and those days were really, really fast paced, sometimes it was just watering my plants. I'm taking 2 or 3 minutes just to like go water my plants, talk to them, tell them to grow, and then, get back into it. So music's a big part of what I like to do or listen to, or really like I find encouragement in music. So I always listen to music too.
Question, which is going back to music. Do you find playing instruments at all helpful? Or are you able to do that?
Yeah. So I forgot to mention, I play saxophone. For those
Like,
that
I
don't
know,
know.
but they don't know.
No, I was just gonna say that. So I come from a musician family. Everyone plays in. Yes, I do karaoke, Willie. I'll go through my go-to songs in a bit. But my family, we all play an instrument, with the exception of my mom. She always says like, I didn't want to learn how to play. So yeah, I play saxophone. I also play guitar and bass. Although I wouldn't claim that I know how to play them. I have to still learn on that. But saxophone for sure is just always my stress reliever too sometimes. And then also to answer Willie's question, karaoke, usually my go-to is No Doubt, I'm Just a Girl. And yeah, just trying to be around music.
And that one song about feeling the rain on my...
Oh my God. Natasha Bedingfield. Oh gosh, what is the name of that song?
I don't know. Feel the rain.
I can feel it for you. I don't remember what the name of it is.
Unwritten. I'm just saying the song in my head. I only know that because of you, because I know that's one of your songs. But that's like an old, long time ago song.
Side note, that was a part of my old, like I had a band at one point. Like there's a lot of things that I've done. That was one of our songs.
And then Willie wants to know if you're a Swiftie.
Okay, so I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion. So I love Taylor Swift's first album when she was country. This is a little thing, and I'm gonna take this to me, and no matter what anyone says. So Taylor Swift, this is back when MySpace was around, and so her first album at that point in my life back then was like, this is like my life. I love this. And so I went to my little MySpace account and like found her on MySpace and was like, your album is great. It really speaks to me, blah, 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 blah. And she wrote back to me and was like, thanks so much as a fan. Yeah, I swear that it happened. People were like, it was her manager. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it was her. Like, nobody knew who she was back then. Like, it was a long time ago. But yeah, I always hold that like so true to me. So definitely a fan. I don't know if I'd be as far as to call myself a Swiftie, because I think once some of her other albums that came out, I didn't really keep up with it. That's just me being a music fan. Like, do I know the songs? Yes. Do I like them? Yes. But do I know the albums? That's like my level of like calling myself a Swiftie or not. So I could be like an honorary Swiftie because I know the whole first album. The other albums, I'll get to them. Like, but I do like her singles that come out. And I appreciate her dedication to music and how involved she is in writing and doing all that. So yes, I'm a fan.
Awesome. Yeah.
See, that's how serious I take being a fan of music. So like
you also introduced me to Taylor Swift because you're like, you have to listen to this young woman. And so I did, and I liked it. But she was more country in the beginning, and country wasn't really my jam. When she crossed over to pop, that's when I really got on the Taylor Swift. But now that I have aged, I do know her singles, but I also don't know the album. So,
yeah.
But I do. I love her music. It's great. Okay, our next question. How do you, share big news?
So I wanted to ask for clarifying, like what does big news mean? Like I guess that I didn't know what that meant.
Anything that like you're excited about, like a promotion or even like being able to meet somebody and sit next to them on the train. Specifically,
I now know what you're trying to ask.
but just anything that's like really exciting. Like, what do you do? Do you scream and shout? Do you tweet? Do you, what do you do when you have something exciting that you want to share with somebody else?
I'm laughing because for this job as a political appointee, I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. During I just couldn't tell anybody, which was hard. But when I was finally given the okay to tell people, I was like texting people, calling people, sharing on social media, and then also too, I try to like utilize social media. I have like a balance that I try to keep because all the people I know on my Facebook are all like mainly my family and people that have now just like I've known throughout the years of me doing different programs or like learning, and people that I knew in college. So like my Facebook has become like a weird jumbled up pile of people of like my family, but also like acquaintances or colleagues, and then like even people I've worked with. So it just become like a big mush of a lot of different pieces of my life. So if I have big news, I'll share it on Facebook for everyone to know. But if there's specific things that I do know or that I want to share, it's like I will literally call people or like text them directly to tell them different news. Yeah. So just kind of doing stuff like that. But I always like, I'm also kind of a private person too. So there's like different things that I do like to share with everyone, and then others that I'm like share with like a close circle of people that I have that are really close to me. So
Yeah, for sure. And also like the news that you have, like it, if it's something political, just kind of like how you're talking about when you go back home and they're like, okay, that's great. Can you go do the dishes? Like they may not see the significance. So you want to share it with someone who like fully understands like the significance of whatever it is that you're sharing. So
yeah, that's true too. Like one time I was on a flight from New York to DC and I saw Ari Melbourne like when I was getting on the flight and he was in first class and I was like, oh my God, it's Ari Melbourne. And but if you don't know who he is, he's like a huge political commentator on MSNBC. Like and so there are certain people that I would share that with and others that I would say that with. And even with like RBG stuff, like I would share things with some of my friends and they'd be like, who is that? And I'd be like, all right, when are you free next? Because we're going to watch a couple of documentaries. Like it's important for you to know who this person is. But yeah, it just depends. Yeah. And if it's like really cool things that I'm able to do, sometimes I'll go live. I use that very rarely just to show like, I think I went live. I don't remember last time I went live, but I feel like it was during something pretty important that was happening here in DC.
what about I don't think you did, but the White House Christmas?
Oh yeah, I was able to go to the White House to look at the Christmas decorations. I took my mom and a really close friend. I didn't go live there though, but I did have lots of like pictures and videos that I took to share with people. I always like to share with my grandma too. So when I go home, I always like show her different pictures. When my grandpa was alive, I would send him. I actually would send like Walgreens or CVS, like the photo thing. I would send like photos that I took, and I'd send them to those places, but near my house in Arizona. And my mom would go get it and then like share it with my grandpa or my grandma just to show them like what I've been up to or what things I've been doing. So, yeah, I just try to make sure to keep them included too.
Yeah, totally. All right. Next question. Does your faith or traditional doings play into your life? I'll just leave it at that.
Yes. Both. I say both because I don't like I view thing, I view it differently. Like, there's like your traditional like traditions that you have in your tribe. So definitely keeping that intact. And then also there's like regular like Christian things, or I'm Catholic in that sense. So I view them both as separate, but equally important. And I know that other people believe different things, so very respectful of all of that. But I like to also, I just have a very also maybe multi-layered view of religion, and being respectful of religion. So like I mentioned before, I meditate, but sometimes I'll do yoga, sometimes, just like different things to really stay connected to myself, but also stay connected to creator. And I think there are different ways you can find creator, and some of that is through music, sometimes it's through singing, in just different ways. And so acknowledging that and being respectful of that, but also finding our creator in different ways and also in different people. So always try to remember that too as well.
Awesome. Okay. I love it. Do you feel that like being I agree also about the multi-layer, and there's two separate things but equally important. Do you feel that your faith in with the Catholic Church has formed you or helped you on your path, on your journey from a young age?
Yeah, you froze a little bit, but
Oh,
yeah, I think
sorry.
no, I mean, my family is very much Catholic. So we do a lot of like rosaries and praying together. Most of my like childhood was doing a lot of prayer in that way, and also going to pray for other families too, in our tribe. So it's a lot of like, yeah, traditions based on rosaries and just the belief of that too, but also honoring my own traditional stuff.
And was there anything significant that had happened to you when you were a baby that kind of like unless you want me to just outright ask it.
We could just say
People, Naomi Miguel has been blessed by the Pope. And I would love to hear more about, like, I know that there's a picture that was in the newspaper. And I just think that that's just like such an amazing thing, because look at where you are now. Like that, like so fortunate. I just think that is amazing. And I just wanted to share that with everybody, because obviously, being blessed by anybody is wonderful, but she got it from the tippy top.
Yeah, my dad would tell me the story when I was little. And when I was little, I would always be like, oh, he's telling me this story again. But now, like, not having him and only having him in my life for a short period of time, obviously very much like treasure the story. So apparently, like, John Paul II was coming to the US, and part of that tour was to go through Arizona. He was in Phoenix, and then he was in Tucson. And at the time, my parents were living in Tucson because our house was being built on the reservation. So they, knew he was coming. They knew they wanted to go, but didn't know how. They were just like, oh, we wish we could really go. I think that day they got a call and someone had extra tickets or something, and they had like an hour to like get ready. And I think they even were like, can we bring Naomi? Because I was a baby back then. I was maybe like 2 months or something. And they got me dressed. I had like a little like purple, I don't remember if it was a traditional outfit or not, but it was a special mass that they were having in Tucson that was also traditional. So they had like our spiritual leaders there as well. One of my godfathers was a spiritual leader at the time, so he was also there. And it was in this huge like stadium. When they got there, the seats were like at the very top. And you can kind of see where the rows were going to be for him, the Pope John Paul, to come in. And as they started getting closer to him coming into the building, apparently my mom told me, like, my dad was like, wait a second, he likes kids, and he like grabbed me from her and just left. And my mom was like, had no idea where he went, and he just like got me and went. And apparently he went through, found his way in the crowd, and like right around the entranceway or somewhere walkway, he like just held me up in the air as a baby and was just like like. And then apparently John Paul saw me and was like, hey, like, and like saw me, pointed, and like was like, bring her over. And then apparently he like got me and like was like, oh, you're so cute, and then like continued to bless me, and then like handed me back to my dad. And that was in the Tucson newspaper. It's a story. This is a story he's always told me. And so it's like I haven't told it in a while, and I don't always tell people that. That's the other part. I usually tell really close friends. I started telling people about it more recently because I'm just becoming more accepting of the fact that that is part of me and that's my life. And just, that's why that part of myself in believing and having faith is very strong in me. And I've leaned on a lot of that through a lot of difficult times. Yeah, so I know we've been talking about a lot of stuff that I've done, but it hasn't always been easy. So I think that's another piece that I've always kind of attributed that to. And having that early teaching of tradition and prayer at an early age is really what kind of has been helping me throughout all this. So
Yeah.
yeah, they did a follow-up report or like story on me around the time that he passed away. Just because that was something that when I lost my dad, like that, whenever I would see the Pope, it was always a reminder. So.
Wow, heavy but beautiful. I was gonna say that in doing our research on you, myself, Avril, and Justine was able to locate the article on you on USA Today. So everybody, if you Google, you can find it. And there's a whole timeline article of Naomi Miguel and her career highlights. And, being that I've known you for as long as I've known you, and then I know that that was a part of your history, that was something that, like, I guess is just a part of it. But then hearing from two people that don't know you as well, they're like, what? She was blessed by the Pope? This is like amazing, And so I was like, oh yeah, she was. That's right. Okay.
Well, I mean, you knew that about me because we're really close, and like I only told close people. It's not something that I go around talking about a lot.
Yeah.
But I think even for that article, I was like, do I want to put this in there? But it was also a weird time because they were like, put everything in your life in chronological order that has happened to you that has led you to this place. And I was like, there's been a lot of things that didn't lead me here. Do I need to put those in? But their direction was like, what has helped develop you to be where you are now? And I think that for me was always a foundation and a ground. Where we were talking about grounding, I think that's what is always a grounding place for me too. And I get it too on the Native side of things. Catholic Church has not always been that great to us. We all have stories about that too. So I also respect that too. If that's a belief or that's your prerogative or view that you want to have too. Very respectful of that as well. So
Very
um,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted people to know because I want, you know, if anyone's ever wondered, has a indigenous person been blessed by the Pope? Yes. I wanted to be able to share that with people. So thank you for allowing us to share that, and thank you for putting it in making that decision to put it in the article. I think it's wonderful. Um, so now we are down to our last question. We're getting ready to wind down here. Are there any routines that you do that help you separate work and home life?
Oh, yes. um, when I was in Arizona and LA, it was very easy for me to do that because you have the long drive home, or in LA, you're just in traffic. So like that was always the big separation of work and home. When I moved to
Mm,
DC, I made the choice because I didn't want to commute that much, to live close to where I work. So like I don't live too far away from Congress.
mm,
So it became a little harder for me to separate the work from home. And then plus like DC is very much like personal and professional connections that you're going to have. So I've tried to really be more mindful of that. When I was in LA, I would come home and I just like lay on the ground. I had this like neck holder thing and I just lay there for like 5 or 10 minutes or even 15 minutes just to like make sure I knew I was home. Um, when I would come home here in DC, sometimes I'd sit in my car for like 5 or 10 minutes just listening to music. Um, when I do come home, I always like and I think since COVID, because the germ thing, I got used to like changing my clothes really quickly. So and that's now become kind of more of a thing for me. Like I'd come home in my work outfit or professional, and then immediately change into like jammies or like lounging clothes. So then I would know like, okay, it's home time. You don't have to work. Um, so like for this too, I was gonna come in my work outfits, then I was like, no, I'm just gonna do casual. So I just threw this top. I left the jewelry on. That's another thing I did start doing was like I'll put my jewelry away. Like I'll specifically like take it off.
mhm.
So I would be more mindful of like, no, I'm at home. I'm here to relax. So that's
Nice.
what I do. Or sometimes I'll even light a candle, like just
Hmm.
make sure I'm making it homey or feeling homey. Yeah.
That's right, homie. Okay, April, you're back. You're able to join us. Is it still storming over there in Los Angeles?
No, it's not storming. I mean, there was a flash flood warning, and when I was talking to you, you asked me about that question. You can hear it. It was like crazy, but I've been just enjoying the show in the background and praying and crossing my fingers that we wouldn't get disconnected. And um, I just really am very honored to share space with you, Naomi, and Jen. Just to hear the life that you have, the life that you did have, and everything that's brought you to where you are today. It's such an honor just to know you. Just to I'm gonna get emotional. Um, just to I'm working with a program called Native Ways to College, and to support middle school and high school students, native students here in Los Angeles. I just am like that Unci, that grandma or the auntie that wants to support and uplift my community, and to see you do that in your perspective area in education or in the White House, to have you as a strong um, Native sister, and during National History Women's History Month, to have you here is such an honor to me, and I'm just proud to call you my sister, my friend, and I'm really thankful that you were able to laugh, and although you're talking about what you do, step away from those hard things that you have to do, and I'm really proud of you. I'm just really proud of you. But like rain, we need it to grow. Like tears, we need it to grow. And I'm just really honored and thankful that you're here. Thank you for being here. Me and Jen and Teeny talk a lot about, this little podcast that we have, Sisters, Uncis, and Aunties, just to visit. And, we're saying like people someday are going to want to come on our show. And we have you here, you're our sister, and now you're in DC with the White House and all of that. And I feel honored to share space with you. That's it, the end.
The end. Thanks for having me and just being in all the work that you guys have been doing. Oh, I feel like it's a little reunion. I like, but I also feel like this is just what we did. What we did when we were in LA was we would have these things like sitting on the couch, like, having these discussions. So, and I knew it was going to be awesome. So anytime I can hang out with you guys too, and also share with everyone who is watching.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to share with people really quick just how we met, which is at Unity, United National Indian Tribal Youth. And it was in Arizona. And somehow your mom found out that I lived in LA and that we were from the same tribe. And she kind of hooked you and brought you over to me, and she was like, Jennifer, this is my daughter Naomi, and she's going to be in Los Angeles, coming, and she just kind of like forced us together, and I was like, great, wonderful. And then we connected when you actually moved. I don't remember, I just remember we just started and hanging out, and I do remember a day that I was like, okay, this girl's my friend, which was when we were on our way to language class at the Indian Center, and I was exhausted, and I think you got in the car, and I was like, do you feel comfortable driving to the Indian Center? Because I don't feel good right now. And you're like, yeah, sure. And like, I trusted you with my car to drive us in LA traffic to get us to the Indian Center. And we got there, everything was fine. And that's when I was like, that was like the cementing of our friendship.
Before you said that, I was thinking that I was like, she's going to talk about when I drove her car. I think full disclosure, your car was a standard. I want to make sure everyone knows that. That's why it's a little bit more of an emphasis of why it was important that she was very trusting of me driving her car. I had a Chevy 95 Chevy back then. That was a standard, so I knew how to drive one already. But like that was like the qualifier. It was like, oh wait, do you know how to drive standard? And I was like, yeah, go ahead, lay down. I'll take us there. Like,
I know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, was it a stick? What, was it that long ago? And it was, yeah, that was my Toyota Tercel, I think, way back when. Stick shift. Yeah. Oh, Jennifer Lee.
Jennifer. I mean, everybody's here.
Everybody's here. It's a full party.
Yay.
Okay, well, thank you so much for spending the time that you have. I know it's late over there, and I'm sure you got to get ready for your day tomorrow. Yes, our next event is April 11th, and looking forward to that. That's all I have. I'm just so happy that we were able to have our little reunion. And of course, if anyone's jumping in late, you can always watch it on the replay. Avril, do you have anything?
I just want to say thank you to, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors and our friends that help us get this out. Paul from powwows.com, Native Muse. We are missing our other co-host, which is Justine Medina. She's on travel right now. But I just want to say safe travels to everybody to wherever they're going. And thank you so much again for being here. Please just thank you. That's all. I don't know what to say. I'm just like so excited to be here, and I'm thankful that you're able to be online with us and Samantha is also saying hello too. From she's on
It's everybody.
So yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, it is coming to a close, and I just want to say thank you for all of our watch people that are watching. Please come back and join us on April 11th. Thank you for being here. Ta'a Pilamaya Gracias Atiehet. Thank you all for being here, and until April, we'll see you again soon. I don't know, Naomi, if you want to say anything.
I think I'll just say, if you want to learn more about the White House Initiative, we have a Facebook page, White House Initiative for Native Americans and Tribal Colleges and Universities. I guess if you want to connect to online, I'm on here somewhere on Facebook. And then also feel free to watch the President's State of the Union address, which is happening right now. So
nice. All right. Thanks all. We'll see you in April.